Thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to our English boot camp. We try to mix it up. Every single session is a little bit different. We bring in different presenters. I think one of our most popular sessions was when Sophia from Avotosti was on because she's an owner of several locations. And so she was able to give you some real life information. Same thing with Carla. Carla has owned a food and, slash restaurant. So she's very knowledgeable when it comes to some of the concepts. So I love the fact that she's going to be giving you some real world examples. Carla is also a really good friend of mine. I met Carla over, I guess it's right, 11 years ago, and I've always kept in touch. I've always been a big fan of Carla and her method because very similar to my method, but her method is much more superior than mine. She was teaching a entrepreneur course that I was in. And she, is phenomenal. She has so much energy. She has so much information. So she is, I'm so excited to have her here. And at the same time, just really excited about thank you to our sponsors. Number one, SoCal Gas. People don't know that tomorrow is their restaurant expo. If you were at Antojo Expo a few days back, you definitely want to go check out their restaurant expo starting tomorrow and Wednesday. It is phenomenal. There's a ton of equipment, tons of food, tons of people. You've got to be there. It's at Downey. We'll send out the information. Abril will put it on the chat. Thank you to our sponsor, DoorDash. I know we've all worked with them. They're absolutely been wonderful and hearing some of our feedback, and so has Grubhub. Our other sponsor is Instant Rebates, which you'll see tomorrow. They are amazing. Instant rebates, people don't know that they can get an instant rebate when they buy a piece of equipment for their restaurant. I've also been a restaurant owner myself through my parents, not me personally. I would never do that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I would never do it. No, it is really hard. And so that's why we try to find some interesting people to give you the best information. Running a restaurant is not easy. If you were at the Antojo Expo, we got to talk to hundreds of restaurant owners, so many amazing people. Thank you, new members. We have so many new members and welcome. You guys are going to get sick of me, but you hear from us all the time. We did sign up a ton of new members. So Carla, this is really exciting. I want to introduce Carla now. She's going to take over. And then if you do have a question, go ahead and raise your hand and Abril will pass it on to Carla. And again, I want to say thank you and welcome to everybody, all the new members. We have a pretty good group here. So welcome, Carla.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So I've known Lily for a while, 11 years, and we've seen each other evolve and change. And so when she asked me to do this, of course, I couldn't say no. And so thank you so much for the invitation. So just to let you ladies and gentlemen know a little bit about me, like she said, my name is Carla Sandoval. Oh, let me see here. There we go. My name is Carla Sandoval, and the purpose of today's class or workshop is setting your restaurant up for success. But let me tell you something. This is going to be a little bit of a different class, perhaps. Like I saw some from the previous years, and I just started to think about, as I've been a business owner for now over 25 years, I've also been the director of the Multicultural Entrepreneur Program with Dr. Davids in her Leadership Institute. For the last 10 years, I've been the director of that program. And throughout those 10 years, let me tell you, I've had the opportunity and the blessing of I think it's like close to 100 entrepreneur women that have gone through the program. So I have seen a lot of different business owners. I've had the opportunity to hear from a lot of them and also coach them. I've been a business coach now for over 20 years. And so in addition to all of this, as she mentioned, I recently just sold it, but I had a brick and mortar, like a smoothie, healthy, anything that has to do with protein and things like that, and energy drinks. I had that as well. So I'm really excited to not only bring information to you, but I'm also going to share with you real life examples of what I feel has contributed to my success. Okay. Again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand and on the little icon, and we'll definitely make sure to cover that. So let me tell you first of all what it is that we're going to cover today. So today, here are some topics that you should expect. We're going to talk about business planning and legal setup, the business structure, the importance of having a good accountant, a good lawyer, and an insurance agent, a financial management, operation system, menu development. And then I have a bonus for you at the end of this. I am going to give you a concept that dramatically changed my life to really set myself up for success. But before I get into the material, here's what I want to invite you to think about. Because a lot of the times, especially if you've already been an established business owner, you might look at these things and think, well, I'm already set up. Like, I'm good. But here's what I want to invite you to think about. As you're listening to these concepts, I want you to open your mind and to think about them, not only if you've been in business for a while, like, oh yeah, I have those done, but how can you take your business with these concepts and take it to another level? Now, if you're here and you're like kind of just starting, this might be very relevant for you. But if you've been in business for a while, I invite you to open your mind and think like, okay, do I need to revisit some of these things? Have I because business gets busy. And so sometimes we forget about these little details that can get us in trouble. So my purpose and my intention is to give you valuable information on how to not only set your business up for success, but also how to grow and protect your business, okay? So, like I said, I'm going to give you some real examples of what also happened to me because I've been in the trenches for many years. So, first of all, business planning and legal setup, okay? So, when we start our business, I want to invite you to think about, when was the last time you sat down and created a business plan for yourself? Now, I think that many times, like I said, I've spoken to many business owners and a lot of them have gone through the program with Dr. Davids. And a lot of the times we will ask them, when you started your business, like, did you sit down and did you have a business plan? Some say yes, but the majority say no. Why? Because we're excited, we have fire, we have drive, and we're like, okay, I'm going to go into business by myself. And we start a business with a lot of drive. But a lot of the times, at least I'll speak for myself, when I first started my business, I've had several of them, but the first one that I started, I started it just like, okay, here we go. But let me tell you this, and I'm going to say this very humbly, and I don't say this to impress you, but to impress upon you the importance of planning your business. My first business, when I started, in 13 months, my business hit $1 million in sales. Now, like I said, I don't say that to impress you, okay? I say that to impress upon you that one of the key factors, yes, it was a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, but I do feel to my core that one of the reasons why my business grew so fast in the beginning was because I had just graduated from USC. I had the mentality of like, I need to sit down and plan. So every month, I'm not telling you maybe you need to do this every month, but for me, when I first started my business, every single month I sat down and evaluated my plan. And every 3 months, I actually took a whole weekend off. Confession, part of it was to sleep because I was so tired. But I was living in Sacramento at the time. I would drive down to San Francisco for the weekend, and I would just disconnect. And I would reevaluate, what did I do the first 3 months? Did it go well? What did not go well? What do I need to change? And I was constantly making a plan to move my business forward. So when we're thinking about setting up our business for success, a lot of the times we think those are the things we need to do when we start our business, create a business plan, etc. But I want to invite you, especially as we're coming towards the end of the year, are you taking the time to really sit down and plan a strategic plan on how you're going to grow and scale your business even further? Or maybe just grow it, period. I know a lot of businesses right now are maybe not doing as well as they wish they would. So the question is, are you taking the time to do a business plan? Are you taking the time, not only from the beginning, but maybe you're 2 years in? When was the last time you sat down and reevaluated your business plan? Next, we're going to cover permits and licensing in more detail and the importance of having insurance and protecting your business. I cannot tell you how many businesses, and I have experienced it myself, I'm going to share with you what happened, are not well protected. Okay, so let's get started with this. First, the question is, are you set up properly? Is your business structure the appropriate one for the size of your business that it is currently? there's different options that we need to consider. We have the DBA, which is also known as the trade names, fictitious business name, etc. So a lot of people, they are pretty familiar with that, with the DBA. But most businesses, when you first start, you want to ask yourself, where should you be? Should you be a sole proprietor? Should you have an LLC? Should you have a corporation? Because many times when we start our business, you are the only person, right? You're like the staff, the owner, the janitor, the cook, the chef. You're like everything in one. And most businesses, we do start, I know I did, start with the sole proprietorship. And the challenge with this is that we live in the state of the United States and we have a lot of lawsuits here. So this might or might not be the appropriate structure for you. Then we have the LLC, which is a business structure that offers limited liability protection, right? And then we have the corporation, which is after a while, when your business gets a certain size, you don't really want to be an LLC. You want to move over to a corporation. So this way, not only do you have legal separation of entity and protection, but also you have a lot of tax benefits. So my question to you, if you're just starting, yes, you want to start to think about which one should you choose? But also, as your business starts to grow, you might want to consider moving from one to the next. Or in my situation, right? Like one of my business is like dissolving. So I talked to my accountant. Actually, he's the one that told me, hey, we need to look at your corporation to see if that even makes sense for you anymore. Maybe we need to not have you be a corporation anymore and have you be an LLC. Which brings me to the next point, which is how important it is to have a amazing, incredible accountant. Okay. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I know I'm going to share with you really quick. I know when I first started my business, and I hope this is not any of you guys, but maybe, you can relate. When I first started my business, I didn't think about anything other than how am I going to grow my business? I need to grow. I need to grow. I need to grow. So my first year, I literally focused on just growing my business. I hardly kept track of anything. I mean, thank goodness that I used my credit card. This I did know to, use my credit card for all my business expenses. So I did have my credit card bill every single month. This was the thing that saved me because come the end of the year, I'm doing my taxes and my accountant's like, okay, well, we need to have the receipts and the this. And I'm like, oh, I don't really know where anything is. Because let's be honest, a lot of the times we're working so much in our business that we're not working on our business. Because when you first start, you kind of have to do everything, right? So I'm going to invite you to not take on the mindset that I did. Because I was thinking, I need to save my money. I'm not hiring a bookkeeper. I can do this myself. I studied business. I went to USC. I know how to do this. And guess what? That attitude of me saving money ended up costing me money. So yes, maybe I saved money that first year, but guess what? I had a lot of things that were missing. So at the end, not only did I pay more to the IRS because I wasn't keeping track of things very well, right? I wasn't prepared, etc. So not only did I pay more to the IRS, but also my time, my headache. Had I just hired a bookkeeper to take care of all those things, I could really focus on the things that matter. But a lot of times we think that a bookkeeper or an accountant, that's all they do. But I'm going to invite you to think about that if you choose the appropriate accountant, not only are they going to help you select the correct business structure, like, hey, you need to go from an LLC to a corporation, or in my case, hey, we need to dismantle your corporation. Doesn't make any more sense. It's costing you too much money. We need to take you down to an LLC, etc. It's also, they're also going to be there to help you tax plan and to have a good tax planning and strategy, to have a good business strategy for your business. Also, they're supposed to be there to help you have an accurate financial tracking. Like, what is your profit and loss statements? How is your business doing? Have a good cost control and profitability. Have a good cash flow management. Another thing that a good accountant can support you with is having budgeting and forecasting. And of course, handling payroll and benefits, especially for those of us who live in California. We cannot be careless about this situation, especially when it comes, I'm going to share with you what happened to me in a minute, but especially when it comes to payroll and things like that, like California is very, very strict. I don't know about other states, okay, so I live here, but also a good accountant will be somebody that can definitely support you during audits. Now, the question is, how are you going to identify who is a good accountant? So I'm going to give you some tips that have helped me, okay? So number one, reach out to this association is so amazing. You have so many amazing fellows that are members of LR, Latino Restaurant Association. Reach out to people and ask them, hey, do you like your accountant? How is he or she working out for you, etc. The other thing you want to consider is your accountant somebody that has departments? Like, can they grow with your business? In other words, for example, my accountant, I always joke around with him because every time I pay him, I kind of like tell him certain things. And then I think about it. I'm like, hey, he has staff that I don't have to hire. My accountant firm has not only the accountant, but there's a department for bookkeeping. There's a department for my corporation, for my minutes, etc. There's another department for payroll. Like, they have people that can support me in all the things that my business needs. So it's not like, well, I don't want to say names, but when it's not a one-stop shop, like he has a firm that can support me. So number one, ask your fellow members. Okay. Number two, see if they can grow with your business. And number three, interview them. Okay. You're hiring them. So as you're thinking about setting your business up for success, not only is this something that you need to do when you start, but as your business is growing, you might outgrow your accountant. Your accountant should also be somebody that you can count on to sit with you every 3 months and say, hey, how are you doing? How am I doing? Am I on track? Am I off track? How are we going? And last but not least, and I want to really emphasize this because I learned this the hard way, a good accountant would be willing and able to sit with you now before the year ends to see what is a good tax strategy before the year ends. Like, how is your business doing? Do we need to make some modifications? Do we need to make some changes? What tax strategies do you have, or do they have for you to pay less in taxes? So when it comes to having an accountant, this is not just for when you start setting up your business. This is something that we need to continuously do, year after year to make sure that you're set up properly. Okay, next. This is something that I learned the hard way to value, and that is a good insurance agent. Now, most of us, when we think of coverage, we think of liability insurance, right? So if you have a brick and mortar business, most likely your landlord is going to require you to have a liability insurance. But what a lot of us sometimes don't think about are other insurances that are needed to protect you and your business. Number two, workers' comp. I cannot stress this enough. I'm going to tell you what happened to me in a minute. How important it is to have workers' comp. Number three, have an umbrella. Sometimes the policies only have a certain type of coverage. If you have a good insurance agent, they can create a personalized service for you to say, okay, based on all your assets and everything you have, we need to make sure you're also covered for all these other things. So we need to bring in an umbrella. And then again, a good insurance agent will help you personalize this. They're also going to be there to update you with different policies. They should be there to help you with claims, help you with employee benefits, and of course, to help you be resource for change or additions in the business. Listen, when it comes to insurance, I will be the first one to tell you, I never saw a lot of value in paying for these things. I'm like, oh, really? I have to pay how much? You never know until you need them. Okay. So I'm going to share with you something that happened to me because I hope and pray that as your business grows, and sometimes I think that entrepreneurs, we're so excited. We're such passionate people. We're like go-getters. We just throw ourselves into doing things. Right? We make things happen. That a lot of the times we have to slow down to go farther and faster. So I'm going to share with you what happened to me. In Los Angeles, so I've had multiple businesses, but one of the businesses that I had in Los Angeles, I had a boot camp business, and we were growing really, really fast. So I was thinking, I really need to get some help. So anytime, and please write this down, anytime you're going to make a decision or a change, consult with your team of accountant, your team of insurance. And right now I'm going to talk about the third one, which is your lawyer. But so I'm smart enough to know that part. And so I called my accountant. I said, this is what I'm going to do. What do you think? He's like, okay, well, you need to do this, fill out these forms and da-da-da-da. He told me everything I needed to do, right? Well, his staff did. Then he said, okay, call your insurance agent, make sure you get workers' comp. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Call my insurance agent. He said, okay, workers' comp, here are all the paperwork, etc. I interviewed this girl on Friday and I loved her. She was perfect for the job. And remember, my business was growing, so I really needed help like yesterday. And I said to her, when can you start working? She said, oh, I can start Monday. I said, perfect. Monday it is. She comes in Monday. Now, did I have everything ready? No. But I had the paperwork and, she started filling out some stuff and she started helping me. Okay. Comes Tuesday. I still didn't have everything all like together, but still she comes in on Tuesday and we were about an hour before closing and I had to leave. I forgot for what. And I turned to her and I said, hey, is it okay? Like, you're going to be here for the next hour by yourself. She's like, okay. I said, okay, just punch out and just close the door behind you. Cause the door was one of those doors that close automatically. I said, just close the door behind you. Just
From
push
the
it really.
recording.
Just push it. April, can you watch that? Thank you. I said, just push it in and it's going to be locked. Okay. So I leave and I get a call with the picture, or I get a text with the picture of a finger full of blood about an hour later. I'm like, what is this? She's like, oh my gosh, Carla, I call her. Don't ask me how she did this. She closed the door and somehow she managed to put her finger in there, closed the door and smashed it and was like, so she had to like open it. It was gushing blood. The first thing I thought of was, oh my gosh, my insurance, my workers' comp I wasn't fine. Like I just jumped the gun and told her to come work when things were not aligned. Now, lucky for me, she was an amazing human being who her parents had businesses. So she understood the entrepreneur stuff. And, I paid for all her medical expenses and everything. Lucky for me, she didn't sue me. But you guys, that was a big lesson for me. All because I wasn't willing to wait a little bit, make sure that everything was taken care of. So after that, let me tell you something. There's one thing that I make sure that's not paid is workers' comp. And here's the thing. A lot of us sometimes feel like that's an unnecessary expense because your mom, your brother, your sister, whoever is helping in your business, don't take a chance. I cannot stress this enough. Don't take a chance. The $100 or $200 that you might be investing into your business, number one, is tax deductible. And number two, it's going to give you a lot of peace of mind. So many times we bring people to come and help us, but we don't realize that we're literally putting ourselves at jeopardy. So I cannot stress this enough. If you're starting your business, something that you need to make sure you have from the beginning, or maybe you're growing and you're like, okay, don't forget to reach out to your insurance agent and make sure that you have all these things at play. Next, your lawyer. Okay. Now, when I saw this, when somebody told me you need a lawyer on your team, the first thing that came to my mind is, I cannot afford this. Okay. I'm not talking about having a lawyer on retainer. I'm talking about having someone that you can reach out to for counsel. Okay. Now, why is it important to have a lawyer? Again, I learned this the hard way. Having a good lawyer to help you negotiate and read contracts all the way through, ensure legal compliance, protect your assets, draft some sound contracts as you're starting to grow. Maybe you have contracts that you're going to do some works with, like making sure that the contracts are well, written, not only for your business, but for yourself to protect you, navigate through complex legal issues, right? Make sure that they can see those potential risks that you have in your business and provide expert advice on various business matters. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to having a lawyer, as part of your team, I'm not saying that you need to have somebody on retainer paying them thousands and thousands of dollars every month. But what I am going to invite you to consider is that you really do need to have someone that you can reach out to and say, hey, I'm about to open this business. Okay, so look, I'll share with you. I had my very first business that I opened, brick and mortar, in Santa Fe Springs, California, down there in LA. I didn't consult with the legal person. Okay. See, I'm the kind of person I kind of have to learn the hard way. And yo me aventé, I just threw myself in there. My husband and I opened a business and I was like, yes, this is perfect. Good price, everything. I did it. We start building our business. And about a year and a half later, guess what happened? We had to move because my type of business was not, that zone was not for my business. So I had to like consider if I wanted to apply for all these zoning. I mean, it was going to cost me over $7,000 to fight to stay there to redo the zoning and I don't know what else. And it was like, no, my gosh, forget it. So I moved. So the second time, my second location, I learned, right? My accountant was like, hire an attorney to review your stuff. So I did. I paid like under $500. My attorney was able to look at my contracts, not only negotiate, but also catch that in my contract, it said that if I don't know what broke, I was going to have to fix it. He was able to negotiate that out of there. And guess what? It was like some water heater thing. And it ended up happening that I did need to replace it, but it ended up, I didn't end up paying for it because we had negotiated that in the contract. So really sometimes, so that would have been a couple $1,000s. So my $500 that I invested, okay, I don't know how much it is now. Okay, this is a while ago, but my $500 that I invested in having an attorney give me counsel prevented a lot of problems. And when I did have a situation come about, guess what? I actually ended up saving me a lot of money. So I invite you to consider, do you have a good accountant? Do you have a good relationship with your with your insurance agent? And do you have some type of legal counsel that you can go to when your business needs it? So that's part of the team that I'm going to invite you, whether you're starting your business or you're already established in your business. Ask yourself, sit down for a moment as we're coming, especially towards the end of the year. Like, how are you doing in those areas? And do you need to adjust? Do you need to modify? Or do you need to expand, your team? Okay, next, your financial management. Okay, here's something that whether, again, you're starting your business or you're already established, these are some things that I personally feel that a lot of the times we can get careless about, especially as we get busy working in our business, we stop working on our business. Number one, accurate budgeting. Question. If I were to ask you right now, what are your fixed expenses? What are your variable expenses? What are your profit margins? Could you give me these numbers? And here's what one of my coaches said to me. And I was like, oh my gosh. He said, and people that tell me I have to ask my accountant, I want you to consider that your accountant is there as a resource, but it's not their business. It is yours. So who needs to know these numbers is us. When my coach told me that, I said, you know what? He's absolutely right. Because here's what ends up happening. A lot of the times we can make money, but the question is not, are you making it? The question is, are you keeping it? How much are you taking home every month, every year? And if we don't have these numbers, it's pretty challenging to know whether your business is doing good or not. And again, this doesn't matter if you're just starting or if it probably even matters even more if you're already an established business with employees and things like that, because the bigger the business gets, the bigger the expenses can be. Number two, do you have a good POS system? Something this is so important that will track your sales, your inventory, and also can generate reports. When I started my restaurant type of business here in Santa Maria, I now live in Santa Maria. Let me tell you, the first POS system that I got, I had never had a restaurant type of a business. So I got what somebody recommended that had a similar business as mine. Let me tell you something. I outgrew it really fast. I needed to then upgrade it. And not only did it cost me a lot more money, but guess what? It saved me a lot of time because this POS system could actually not only give me all this data, but also inside of it, my particular POS system also did marketing and emails and loyalty things. So think about the POS system. The one that you have, can it grow with your business? Number three, a cash flow management, monitoring working capital. Again, so important to have a good financial planner, a good accountant to help you with these topics. And number four, cost control. Having a regular, ask yourself, are you auditing your food cost to reduce A, expense, and B, waste reduction? Let me tell you something. So many times, okay, I'm going to just speak to you from my personal experience. When we're growing really fast in our business, a lot of the times we can stop taking care of the pennies, okay? Because we're so busy. I know when I first started my business, I was like, okay, how much does that cost? How much does that cost? How much do we really need that? And it was like, I was really watching every penny because I every penny counted. As my business started to grow and as things started to get better and I started to have more employees, I'm sad to confess, I started to get careless. And I'll tell you when I had a wake up call with this, because sometimes you're just, at least for me, I was just ordering merchandise and then I was throwing away a lot of stuff, wasting product because it was, like there for too long because I wasn't keeping track of what was selling, what was not selling, etc. And this really, I had a wake up call. I was out of town and I had the girls. I had 7 employees at the time. And I said, can you guys go look at the inventory and tell me what I need to order? And so they went to the back and did the inventory checklist. And then they said that these 2 things we didn't have. And I could have sworn we had them. And I was like, are you sure? Because I could have. And the girl's like, no, we don't have this. We don't have that. And they were like big orders that I had to, they don't come in small quantities. So I'm like, okay. So I trusted her and I ordered them. I come back, back home. I go to my shop and guess what I find in the back? Those 2 things that I had ordered. And I was like, oh, right. Now I could have been mad at the girl. And I did say something to her. I said, honey, like, look, you need to look thoroughly. But that was a big wake up call for me of how careless I had been on not being diligent on all these little things. Because now I had 2 big boxes coming in. Now, the girls, obviously, they're not the business owner. So they said to me, yeah, but we're going to need them anyway. Yeah, we're going to need them like 6 months from now. If my landlord comes to me and says, hey, give me the rent, I'm not going to be able to tell him, hey, well, you know what? I have a lot of inventory, so I can't pay you right now because the money's there. No, he's going to want cash. This is why your cash flow management is so important. So taking care of all these details, I'm going to invite you to start thinking about, are you, because maybe you're growing a lot in your business, are you still taking care of the details when it comes to cash flow and cost control? Next, your operational systems. So listen, this is something that I am very passionate about. This is something that I have been teaching for the last 10 years as an entrepreneur director of the program of Dr. David's in USC. And every year we go through this with the program. You might want to write this book down. It's called E-Myth. We do all the curriculum with E-Myth because the premise is you want to make sure that your business is operating with systems and procedures. So one of the things that, again, my shop, for about last year, I probably was there from November to till the time I sold it in August, very few days out of the month. Now, the first couple of months, of course, I was there working the business, etc. But one of the things that I did was that I was always asking myself, what do I need to put in place so that somebody else can do what I'm doing? What do I need to put in place so somebody else can do what I'm doing? And every time there was a question, one of the girls would ask me a question, I would immediately ask myself, what do I need to do so this question never happens again? So number 1, creating standard operating procedures. I invite you to think about, does your business have clear procedures for staff to follow? So many times we think like, oh, they should know. They should know, okay? We cannot leave things to chance because what seems obvious to us is not obvious to them, okay? So one of the things I'm going to invite you, if you're starting your business, then maybe one of the things that you're going to need to do is as you're going through your day and as you're doing your work, start to write down and document everything you're doing, like how you do what you do. Because when you bring a staff member, you want to make sure to say, this is how we do what we do. Here are the systems and the procedures. Here's what I would recommend that, you follow. So one of the things that a lot of business owners do is that we're just in the business, we're working. And then we get staff and it's like, okay, how do you train them? How do you show them what to do? You have to literally be there to teach them, to show them. Yes, of course, that's important. But also imagine if you actually give somebody like a manual, a procedure, some like steps, a system, and say, this is how we do what we do, and this is why we do what we do. Then guess what? Anybody that starts to come in can actually follow your system. So number 1, I invite you to ask yourself, Do you have operating systems in your business? Next, health and safety protocols. You know, being in the restaurant industry, it is so important to have food safety, cleanliness, and employee hygiene. Again, don't leave this to chance. I know when I had my business, a lot of the girls that worked with me, some of the girls were very young and they would come with their hair down. And, you know, and I would tell them, in the manual, it says you got to have your hair up. So it's not like something that I'm telling them. Like when they came in, I told them, this is how you need to come dressed. This is how your hair needs to be. Why? Because we can't have the hair, you know, in the food. So sometimes what seems obvious to us is not obvious to our team. And last but not least, inventory management. Again, I kind of already stressed this a lot, but having a regular inventory checks to assure freshness and minimize waste. So important that we have something in place. Maybe it's every week or every month or both, to make sure that you're not over ordering, you're not like under ordering, but you're also not wasting products that you're having to throw away, because that is all money. Okay. Now, menu development. Okay. Now I know Latino Restaurant Association really helps you guys a lot with this. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'm just going to share with you some tips that I created for myself that helped me with my business. So one is your balanced menu. You want to make sure that your menu is appealing and it's cost effective to like what it is that you're trying to like to keep your profit margins, you know, well, and that it's aligned with the concept that you have. Like, you know, my place, like I said, it was anything to do with protein and energy, and it's kind of like a to-go thing. So imagine like me coming in and, you know, it's a cute little place. However, nothing was over. I think the most expensive thing was like $12 or $16, something like that. So nothing. Yeah, $12. Oh, no, $16 was the most expensive thing on the menu. So this way, like, I'm not going to sell something for $100 when it's clearly not a sit down type of a place. So you want to make sure that it's aligned with the concept that you have. This way, people are not like shocked, like, wait, how much is it? Like, I thought this was fast food. You know, I'll show you my story. I'll show you a story really quick. There's a place in Whittier. It's no longer there. So I'm not going to mention the name either, but it was like kind of like a to-go taqueria. And my husband and I, we went to go order some tacos, and I could not believe it. It was just like him and I, we just ordered tacos. I think, I don't know if you remember we had a drink or not, but it was like 40 something dollars for the two of us. And it was like, when they were registering, the register, I was like, wait, how much? Like, it didn't match. Like, we didn't order that much food for it to be that. Well, this is a while ago. This would be pre-COVID. Okay. But it's like, wait, was like 40 something dollars for like, I think it was like 4 or 5 tacos. I don't remember, but it wasn't that many. So it was like, it didn't like, how is that price? It's not aligned with the concept that they have. So you want to make sure that you keep these things in mind. Next, menu pricing. You want to make sure that your price is based on the cost of goods sold, and make sure you know your profit margins. Why this is important is because number 3, your menu engineering is highlight those high profit and best selling items. But here's the thing. If you don't take the time to look at your numbers, it's going to be really challenging for you to know what is that best selling item and like what has the biggest profit margins. So I'm going to share with you what I've done. Okay, some tips. When I opened my place, I thought, as a consumer, when I go to a place, what has me order what I order? And immediately I was like, you know, every time I see a picture, that's kind of what I lean on. I do that. So I started to look at my shop and started thinking, okay, what are my things? What are the things I really want to highlight? I created beautiful pictures of them. My menu was not overwhelming, because a confused, you might want to write this down. A confused client will not buy. Okay. So I didn't want to overwhelm them with so many things. All of us have been to a restaurant where you're like, I don't even know where to start. Okay. So I didn't want to do that. And I highlighted certain things. Then I realized that my biggest profit margins were my baked goods. I had protein churros, protein donuts, and protein waffles, all which are gluten and dairy free. What a great benefit. And they were my biggest profit margin. So what I did, every time we would open the shop, I made sure that we made the churros. So when people walked in, guess what they smelled? The baked churros. I'm kind of craving them now. And we also made a protein waffle. so that when people walked in, the first thing that they would say is, oh my gosh, it smells amazing in here, right? See, all these things open up the appetite. Then when they saw the menu, okay, we had protein smoothies. The protein smoothies were like $10, $8 or $10, depending the size. And so most people would purchase the $10 one. And then as I was selling to them, I would say, would you like to add some protein churros? And then I would give them my spiel. They are gluten-free and dairy-free, and they have 7 grams of protein. And they would be like, gluten-free and dairy-free? I'm like, yeah, and they're only $5. And they would almost always say, yes, I want them. So the $10 sale turned into a $15 sale. But most importantly, my churros only cost me a little over $1 to make. So guess what? The profit margin on those churros were big. So not only did I increase the sale, but I also, the thing that I increased with was a huge profit margin. So I want to invite you to start to think about what are the things on your menu that have an opportunity to be highlighted. Are you highlighting them? What can you do to have your menu be more appealing? Maybe investing in some pictures, right? Like, I'm going to confess, I didn't have the money, but I have a really good camera. We just had opened our business and we knew things were not going that well at the beginning. And I'm like, okay, what can we, these are the 2 things I always ask myself. You can take them if you want to. Say, what can I do? What am I going to do? What can I do? What am I going to do? These questions they spark my brain to think. Okay. So you want to make sure that you start to look at how can you improve your business so that you can highlight those things that are really going to bring you in more profit margin. All right. And how can you like increase the sales by just highlighting certain things in your menu? Maybe like a seasonal menu, right? We do this too. We used to do this too. We have an autumn menu, a spring menu. I would decorate the place a little bit different to highlight the new menu of the season. And all this would bring in new clients. So, as you're starting to think about your business, are you set up properly with your menu? But also, what can you do to vamp it up a little bit? People like change, you guys. So, all right. So that's that. Last but not least, okay, and then I'll open it up for questions in case anybody of you have any. So this is my personal treat to you. This is a little bonus that I wanted to include because as a business owner myself for over 25 years, I can tell you that I have had the opportunity to build a lot of business, a lot of growth, but a lot of stress as well. And the reason why I share that with you is because I do feel that it's important to know that if you're new in business, for you to know that business is never going to be like this. It's going to go up and down, right? Nothing is like a steady up. So one of the things that really helped me, like not only get through the pits of my life and pits of my business, but also one of the things that really supported me in not losing my way like I did the first time. Because let me tell you, I shared with you how I had huge growth in my business. In 13 months, my business hit $1 million in sales. What I didn't tell you was that after that happened, I almost lost everything. I went from having over 80 salespeople on my team in September to the next month, October, only 5 people on the team. Because I was very stressed out. I was burned out. And like, I don't know, like I was like, it was too much, too fast. Not only that, but I'm embarrassed to tell you, okay, but I was working so much in my business that I completely like didn't take care of my body. I couldn't shut off my brain. So I would drink a glass of wine or 2 or 3 every single night. I mean, I'm not opposed to drinking, but when you do this almost every night, it's kind of a problem. I would do that almost every night because I was so stressed out. I had no connection with my spirituality. I hardly talked to my friends. The boyfriends that I had, we would break up because I didn't have any time for them because all I would do is work on my business. Like I would just focus my business. That's all I would think, eat, breathe, sleep, everything, right? I know that in the beginning, that is kind of like a thing that we all do because all your money is invested in there. At least it was for me. And my reputation and my ego and my pride and my ganas, like all of it was in my business. But when I had a lot of success, I lost myself and I started to think like, really, like, I don't know if this is worth it. Lucky for me, I went to the seminar. I'm not going to get into the details, but I met a gentleman who shared a concept with me that dramatically changed my life, and I want to share it with you. So if you have something to write with, you're welcome to follow along. If not, you guys, I think this is going to be on replay. So can you see that, April? Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is the concept that I teach. So like I said, I'm a business coach and I teach this to a lot of my clients. And that is a concept called Core 4. Okay. And here's the whole premise behind this. And that is that your business should be here to support you, and that there is a way to grow and scale your business without sacrificing the things that matter the most to you. And how we get this done is by this concept. Now, I have an app that I have my clients do, but you can also do it with a piece of paper and a pen and a lot of dedication. Okay, but if you want to follow along with this, is that you're going to make a cross, and over here you're going to put body, and over here you're going to put being, and over here you're going to put balance, and over here you're going to put business. So the concept of this is that it's called Core 4 because you're going to focus every single day on these 4 things, just a little, doing something every single day in your body. For example, you're going to choose 2 things that you're going to do with your body. A, for example, fitness, and B, something to do with nutrition. So what are 2 things that you're going to do? For example, you might say, okay, I'm going to go for a walk for 30 minutes and I'm going to drink a green smoothie every day. Or I'm going to go work out to the gym for an hour and I'm going to drink a protein shake every day. What are 2 things that you're going to do? Okay, hold on a second. This is pen's kind of weird. What are the 2 things that you're going to do with your body every single day? So for example, fitness and nutrition. Next, your being. What are 2 things that you can choose for your spirituality? It could be meditation, prayer, reading the Bible, reading the whatever, going to yoga. Like, what are some things that you can do that to connect to your essence, to your core? Okay. Then balance. In other words, your relationships. What are 2 people, that you're going to invest in every single day? For example, for me, it's my husband and my son. So every single day I do something, whether it's like a text message telling him thank you for what he does. It's got to be genuine, okay? Or I leave him little notes in his lunchbox. Something that you can do to invest in your relationships every single day. And then in your business, what can you do to discover? In other words, to study. Something to help you get better at your craft. Maybe something you're lacking is marketing. So can you do something like listen to a podcast? You can listen to my podcast. It's Wake Up and Unleash, okay? And listen to a podcast. Go to YouTube, like read a book. Something to help you become a better leader and a better business person. And then what are you going to do as far as declare? In other words, what did you declare you were going to do this week? For example, maybe you're going to say, you know what? I need to follow up with my clients every single day this week. So I'm going to follow up with 3 people Monday through Friday. So the question is, when you have this concept, the reason why it's called Core 4 is because anytime you do something, you get a half a point. So if you worked out, you get a half a point. If you follow through on your nutritional plan that you said, green smoothie, protein shake, whatever, you get a 0.5. If you did, like, for example, meditation as an example, or maybe you journaled, that maybe for you it's meditation and journaling, you get a half a point for each. You invested in person A, you invested in person B. You did something to study to better your business, and you declared and you followed through on your thing. So anytime you do this, you actually will track how you're doing. If you did both, then you get 1.5 plus 0.5 is 1. Here, 1. Balance, 1. Business, 1. Hence, this is why we call it Core 4. So, there's an app that tracks all this, but you can even do it with a piece of paper and a pencil. Like on Monday, what was my score? And the reason why this is so valuable is because one of the things that I find in a lot of entrepreneurs is that because we're so focused just in the business, that many times we forget our bodies, we forget relationships, we forget our spirituality, we forget those things that actually can help us in all the areas of our lives. Okay. So I wanted to share that with you because I feel that the most important component of business is you. So if you can help yourself be set up for success, then you can help your business even more, because the business is a reflection of you. Your business will only grow as much as you grow. So what I want to do is I want to gift you this. If you go to wakeupandunleash.com, you'll see a pop-up. And there's a 15-minute training video that will help that would help you with building your annual plan. It literally will walk you through step by step on how to create an annual plan. And because I know this association is so much about helping entrepreneurs, I am going to gift you guys, anybody that's interested, a 15-minute complimentary call. It's free with me to go over your biggest and most pressing issues in your business. So if you take a screenshot or take a picture of this, you can go in there and you can actually book a one-on-one call with me for 15 minutes, and we can go over some of, some big and pressing issues that you have with your business. So that, with that said, I want to turn the call back over to, I don't know if she's still on, Lily or April, or if does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, let's open it up for questions. This is
Okay.
Lily. That was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Anybody have a question? You guys can just unmute yourselves or raise your hand.
Yeah, unmute yourself and ask the question. We'll give it a couple.
Okay, no problem. I'll also read it here at the chats. I saw some chats coming in. Oh, okay, people are just introducing themselves. Yes. Okay. Now, by the way, I did not know that you can get instant rebates, Lily. So this is really exciting. I had no idea that you could do that.
Yeah, we have as part of the LRA, we have instant rebates program, and that's obviously for energy efficiency. They're trying to make sure that everybody knows about it. So when you go out and buy certain appliances, a lot of appliances, there's a lot of rebates people don't know about, and it's all funded by the energy efficiency people.
Yes. So if you're
I think that will be. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's here on the chat. So thank you, April, for putting that links on the chat. And I'm sure it's also going to be on your website. Okay.
Yes, it's on the website as well. Well, that will be it. We'll say goodbye. And we'll see you next week, Carla, again for the marketing piece, which is going to be very, very, very beneficial. We had a lot of calls for that, so we're really excited. So next Monday, we'll be sending out all the information. Tune in at 3 o'clock. It'll be the same link, but we'll send out the information. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.